Have you ever felt stuck or trapped, or you just didn't know what to do or how to get somewhere? Maybe you just didn't know what direction to go into, or, had a reason to get somewhere. You see, these were all problems with the Three Lakes area right now. And today it's time that we actually added in some wayfinding to it. So today we are going to dive right in and we are going to build some roads into the Three Lakes area, into the mountains. So I'm very excited for this and I am ready to just kind of dive right in. So for those of you that are new to my channel here, my name is Michael and this is Sovereign Gaming in Life Sims. This is the channel where I build worlds, lots, and also share my thoughts on video games in the life simulation gaming space. Now today, like I mentioned before, we are all about that wayfinding. We are all about finding our way through these mountains, and we are going to get there somehow and some way. You see, the road layout is certainly something that is taking center stage within this SimCity Create a World project that I've got going on here. And really, like, what makes it come center stage is that our roads are essentially like some of the largest pieces of infrastructures within a region, and it also gives us access to these different areas in the world that I'm creating right before our very eyes. So they're very important, and how they're laid out is also very important, and I feel like that all of the roads and all of that really help to inform the different kind of play styles that we got going on. So we have that. If we take it back to our urban setting, we've got that strict grid where it really feels like you are in the middle of a city, you're surrounded by buildings and all of that. And then when we move out to the suburbs, it gets a little curvier and swervier, and it feels like there's a little more space out in the suburban neighborhood. And in this case, it's Blue Water Village that is our suburb neighborhood in this interpretation of SimCity. And I've introduced a little bit of road work into hillier terrain with the Mansion District. So with the Mansion District, we had to do a couple of more, we had to get even more swervy and curvy with that because we were climbing up a mountain, and it wouldn't make sense to necessarily just do a straight road as a decline, or at least in my case, it wouldn't have made sense with the road layout that I was going for there. So we had to do some of those hairpin turns, and we would have to snake our way up the hillside there. And that is exactly what is the game plan for the the Three Lakes mountain range here. Is just, we've got to get vehicles up this mountain and we've got to do it in a logistical way. So that's where all of these hairpin turns are coming into place. This is where we have more swerves and curves just to slowly climb up that mountainside. Now, I don't think that it's I think that it isn't so swervy and curvy that it's that it overdoes it, but I feel like I have it balanced by the end of this episode with all of the road work that I end up doing. I'm sure that right now you are wondering why I have continued using a paved road, and the reason for that is, well, custom roads are kind of hard to download, but I do add in a custom road in this episode, so I'm very excited for that for you guys. But I did want to keep this road up the Three Lakes mountain paved because I've got a couple of lots that I want to place up there. Firstly, I'm going to place 3 lots up there that just represents the 3 different lakes, because it's called Three Lakes for a reason. I want 3 lakes at the mountain top here, or at this plateau, this Three Lakes plateau or what have you. So that's one lot that's one set of lots that I want to place up there. The other lot that I want to place up here is a 64 by 64 lot. Now, a lot of this is like a lot of wilderness play. There's some like there's a lot of wilderness to deal with, which is why I want those 3 lakes up here. And there's also something else that I want to add, and that would be a lot to build a resort. I think I might have mentioned it in my last episode, but I absolutely intend on building a resort up here, like a mountain resort or a mountain lodge. And I really want this mountain resort to really emulate the Overlook Inn or the Overlook Hotel from The Shining, which I think is a magnificent piece of architecture. And I really want to give it a stab at like trying to recreate it when I have this world exported and all of that. So yeah, I'm very excited to actually start to work on that. And by the way, if you notice on my channel that I'm uploading some speed builds again, well, that just means that I was able to work far enough ahead to get the world exported. So that's some good news there, is that you get both a create a world build and also you get to see the lots get built in some speed build videos. So the reason why I'm mentioning this now as opposed to earlier is because I actually do have a feeling that by the time this video comes out, that I'll be doing some speed builds and all that, and I'll continue with the lot building and making the SimCity world come alive. So this video will really serve as the process up to it and all of that. So it's a good problem to have, in my opinion. Like, sure, you kind of spoil you spoil the ending if you watch the lot creation videos, but it's okay. It's a good problem to have on my end, and I don't mind. I don't think it's like completely detrimental, since I'm just over talking a speed build anyways. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process here. I just want those 3 lakes up here, and I also want an opportunity to build a mountain resort. When it comes to allowing players to have all of the gameplay features at their fingertips, for me that definitely included resorts and resort building. And I didn't want to put a resort in the middle of downtown. That was never my intention. I don't think that the urban resorts work well with the Island Paradise expansion pack. I could be wrong on that, because I myself never really played with resorts, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there and just let you guys know that I intentionally didn't build a resort in the downtown core. I believe, actually, now that I'm talking about it, I believe I've really only played with resorts once, and I did it, and I had to use their rabbit hole building, which eventually evolves into like a skyscraper, and that thing is massive and ugly, and like, it's not even a good looking skyscraper in my opinion. Like, it's decent, okay, it's decent, but it's not something that I would ever throw in the middle of one of my cities here, and it just would feel out of place. So when I go to do the Overlook Hotel build, what I'm going to end up doing, to be honest with you, is I'm just going to throw it in a basement and make it happen. In one of my other world builds, I actually did build a resort just to see what the gameplay was like, since I never really used the Island Paradise expansion pack, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I mean, resort play is okay, I don't mind it, but the annoying thing was that rabbit hole building, and at the time I was just creating like a little dingy motel, so it looked out of place when I was getting myself fully upgraded and all that. So I just threw that in a basement and called it a day, and I didn't mind doing that. The only issue with throwing the building or whatever, the rabbit hole building that you're forced to use in the basement or what have you, is that it just has to be accessible for the Sims to actually go in and live in. So that's really the only kind of issue there, but that's not it wasn't a big issue. I never found that my game stalled or crashed because I did that. So I'm not worried particularly about it. But yeah, the idea here is to rebuild the Overlook Hotel. I'm going to put in some snowboarding half pipes and all there because it would make sense. And yeah, a maze, like a full-on hedge maze should go in there too. And yeah, and who knows, I might even throw one of the restaurants in there. The business as usual bistro at this point when I'm recording this episode right now has prevented me from using the editing game mode, so I better use it every chance I get. So who knows, I might just throw that in there just for good measure. I might actually do that. It could conflict with what I want to do, so that'll just require a little bit of testing, but that's that's an okay problem to have. Again, I can just answer that question on my own through testing. I won't build the whole hotel only to find out that I need to undo what I've done later. I might have mentioned this before, but we're definitely at the stage in the game of this SimCity project really where I need to actually build the geography before I build anything else, because the geography now is informing me of what the world needs to look like, whereas I was doing the very opposite because I really wanted to fit in a lot of lots and I wanted to fit in that urban structure, so I wanted to prioritize that over the geography. And so this is a case, like in this series, like since we started working on Three Lakes, honestly, where it's really switched, and I really am enjoying the switch here. And I absolutely love the ravines that get painted in here. It just makes it feel so much better. And like, I'm kind of wondering about the Vista objects I'm gonna have to place. Like, I'm almost leaning towards not placing a Vista object just because I know that sometimes they have hills and then the hills will be on the wrong spot and all that. And I just don't want to have to deal with that headache because I need to also communicate that there's an ocean too. So it's kind of a problem there, but that's just a future problem that future me is gonna have to deal with. But for now, like, I'm really liking how this mountainous region, how the Three Lakes region has really turned out. And by the way, like within the Three Lakes region, like within those 3 fishing lots I told you guys about earlier, I'm dropping in another hot air balloon location as well. So you can take a hot air balloon from Three Lakes to the lookout point in the Mansion District, because that one little lot there is indeed going to be a lookout point. And then there's also going to be another hot air balloon location within the farmlands region. And also I plan to drop another one in on the Blue Water Village Park that I'm going to be placing and decorating in as well. So there's like a couple of different options there. And I really wanted that hot air balloon, which was given to us in DLC from the Aurora Skies world, because it's there and there needs to be a use for it. So I really wanted to use it in a couple of different locations there. Because if you just place the object and there's not another one located anywhere else, then it can't really travel. That's if I'm remembering this premium item correctly. If I'm wrong, and I could be, feel free to correct me in the comments section below. But I do want some hot air balloon play going on there. And yeah, like when it comes to downloading this world and all that, this world is going to be exported just with the empty lots. Eventually, like when I have all the lots built out, I will probably re-upload it as a save game with the lots built in, but I'll also provide the lots for download as well, so people can just download them as they see fit. Again, this is a world designed for your play and your game and all that. I just want to be able to offer all of the expansion pack features within one world, as opposed to you, the player, being forced to switch worlds for different aspects that you want to, or different gameplay features that you want to play out. Speaking of taking all expansion packs into consideration when building this world, I am definitely taking into consideration like ocean play and how the water is actually going to be used by the players as well. I dropped in a port lot well in the beginning of the series, just with that working port, and I'm going to tell you right now that that is not going to be the only port in this world. I have got plans for the future, and you guys will just have to see how those plans unfold and whether or not I can pull them off, I guess. And yeah, so there's more than one way to play using ports and houseboats and all that. And the important thing with like traveling on water is just that you have to have destinations to go to. Now, I'm not doing hidden islands. I think that hidden islands are awesome. They were great for Island Paradise and for other custom worlds. I don't want to be bothered with those mechanics, firstly. Secondly, I don't think it actually suits the SimCity world. I don't think you'd have hidden islands at the foothills of a of a sprawling metropolis. So it doesn't make sense lore-wise for me anyways, but yeah, I do want to actually make like the rivers travelable and all of that. Now, before the alarm bells go off in your head, I'm going to be extremely vigilant about painting impassable terrain and all that towards the end of the series because your Sims can do some ridiculous stuff with boats. Like they'll take a boat halfway across the map when they could have driven and like cut their time in half or some ridiculous things like that. So yeah, impassable terrain is going to be painted all over the place, and like I've even had issues where Sims have walked on mountains or like climbed a mountain just to get somewhere after they drive halfway up of it. Anyways, yeah, impassable terrain is going to be a huge thing here, and that is something I'm taking into consideration. However, when it comes to traveling by boats and all of that, it is something I am taking into consideration because I do understand that some players really enjoy playing with houseboats, and I feel like Island Paradise is one of the expansion packs I use the least, but I do have the most, do have a lot of respect for. Even though like the gameplay features there is not my cup of tea, I can see how a lot of people can really get into it, and I was very impressed with it. So this is not an Island Paradise review though. One of those reviews may come up in the future. Who knows where this channel will be at that point. Anyways, I mentioned very early on in the series that I was thinking about using different grass paints to designate different temperatures or ecosystems or whatnot. I'm actually at this point declaring that I'm not going to do that. I really enjoy the base green, the lush texture that I've been using in Blue Water Village and parts of the downtown core and all that, and that's going to be a grass texture that I'll use throughout. There will only be like certain select areas where I don't use it, and there will be a reason why. Like for example, the platforms on the train tunnels, like who's mowing the lawn up there? Nobody. In the starter neighborhood, I also wanted to kind of show that it is indeed a neighborhood that isn't as taken care of. There's a reason why it's a starter neighborhood and not a luxurious suburb or a bustling urban neighborhood. So I used that drier grass there. I've also used it on some of the islands in the middle there just to kind of add some additional color. So it's really some of the color choices that I was using here, and I'm going to continue using this grass texture that you see on screen for those hills and the ocean in the ravine towards the back of the map. And yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I really enjoyed it. Speaking of ravines and passable terrain and all that, like the ravines in the back of the mountains, just right beside flanking the Three Lakes mountain range, some of those will be passable, some of those will not. I mostly built these mountains because I thought it looked nice, and it was more so an aesthetic choice than it was a functional choice. For example, there are certain areas, there are certain ravines where I just think it's going to end up being too narrow for a boat to actually pass through. I might still paint it as passable. I haven't decided yet on that. And when I get to dropping in some spawners and all that, I might actually drop spawners in wilder areas like this for your Sims to just kind of go out and explore. So if you play with werewolf Sims, they're going to absolutely love this map because there will be lots of stuff to collect and all that jazz. But yeah, these ravines, some of them will be passable, some of them will not. And if since you guys are watching this series, like there's no way to hide it either. I'm gonna eventually have a secret lot kind of built into this ravine system, and within that secret lot there will be a whole there will be the Fountain of Youth. You'll also find the fairy arboretum. I think that's how you call it, the fairy building. You'll find the fairy building there, and there'll just be like a little touch of a magical lot, but I will expand upon more on that in a future episode, but not on this one. But that's kind of where these ravines are all leading towards, is just towards that one little lot there that's hard to get to. Like there's no road that kind of goes there, kind of thing. So yeah, that's a little bit of the vision there, and the reason why I'm incorporating some supernatural elements into this build is because they're available in the game and the lore in the game is kind of forcing my hand here. So even though I'm not outright gonna have like a vampire's lair or something like that, I am going to just kind of give that kind of game, make it possible first of all, but also make it just kind of give it a little nod as well as to like it's acknowledged in this world. It's acknowledged, and if the player so chooses to, they can expand upon it as well. So yeah, that's kind of the idea with these ravines, is to just kind of use it for secret areas, use it for hard to get to spawners or items, I guess. Like you'll find the rarer items here, you'll find the rarer fish in these ravines. And yeah, that's really part of the ocean play that I was talking about before. You can go up the rivers and the ravines, and you can also go into the ocean and explore the ocean a little bit, of which there might not be a lot to find, but but you can certainly fish there. Oh yeah, somebody in one of my earlier videos was asking about diving lots. Okay, diving lots are a trip. They are a pain in the butt to actually get to work. I've tried making them in the past, and it is a dog's breakfast trying to get that to work properly. And even with the best guide videos out there, it's still a very complicated process, because you have to, of course, you go into testing sheets enable true, but you also have to adjust the height level of the water somehow, and then I know you for a fact you have to adjust the camera level, and that's where things get crazy when it comes to actually trying to design one of those things. I'm going to, like, because I have to export this world as like an empty world with nothing built on the lots, I'm going to do that, but I'm also going to place some lots in the ocean as well. And I'm going to see like if I can just export a diving lot from Island Paradise into that and see if that works. I think I've done that in the past, and it's just like been another mess trying to actually export another diving lot into, a diving lot in my world. And the reason why it's a mess is because it reads the water levels differently. Like diving lots are just a headache. I might have to commission somebody to actually build one, but yeah, I'm for now I'm going to export the world with a couple of lots in the ocean, with the idea that there'll be diving lots, and I'll see if I can actually make those work. If not, they'll at least be available for players to build on if they know how to create their own diving lots. So it's not like I'm trying to block somebody from accessing that game feature. It's just that I'm just not that skilled, you guys. I'm skilled in some things, but this is one of the things where it is not in my wheelhouse in the slightest. Like, I'd be more likely to grasp how to do a split level or build directly into the terrain rather than build a diving lot in of itself. There's so many more talented people out there that do that, and I'm just going to see if I can at least extract it from the Island Paradise world to see if I can just drop it in here and just give that gameplay option right off the bat. So yeah, that's my idea there. Hopefully it will work. If not, then I'll just figure it out from there. At least the option to build within the middle of the ocean is available to the player. Well, that's gonna about do it for this episode. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching the SimCity Create a World series that I've got going on here. I know that there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of episodes and all that, but if you've been sticking around for the series here, well, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I love how it's just finally coming together, like as you see in these tours here that I'm doing at the end of the episodes now. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed this series, then feel free to like and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.